look at the lips again. Try to picture how they're shaped on the doll you're getting ready to paint.
Well, do you have it in your, has your brain told your fingers how to do this?
Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay.
That's always my old saying. It's one thing to have it in your head. Getting it down here is a totally different thing. So I'm going to go in here to the side of the mouth. I generally will stroke in a line in the very center. Okay, and we have talked about how those lips are shaped. It's fairly straight. You got a dip.
But isn't the mold kind of telling you too what to do?
Yes, it does have the detail. Sometimes you can go by the sculpting. Sometimes, though, it's overpainted, is what I call it. And it doesn't follow exactly the contour of the sculpting of the lips. So always refer to the original antique or a really good picture, not one that the color has been enhanced or anything. Now see, we're starting to get that smile.
Yep.
I've got too much of a void in the middle. So I'm going to fill this in just a little. And remember, this is just the first coat. So I will be putting more color in.
So you have an opportunity to correct something in the second.
Oh, yes. Now, like I was saying too, notice how her lower lip doesn't extend to the edges. It just kind of drops out. So we're going to go in there. It's about right in here. We're just going to drop the lip right down.
And you know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of particular about lips on dolls. So I think all of ours have pretty beautiful lips.
Yes.
You know, I don't want, you know, the modern lips, but I don't want little skinny no. I want some lips.
Now, you see where I've went off. That's why I just continue painting. I know I'm going to take it off. I'm going to go in here with a wonderful eraser. Just barely touch it. Now I've taken too much off.
But you can always add on.
That's what I'm going to do now. And it right back in. And like I said, I do many layers, many firings. The very first firing, though, I'll put in generally very, very light. So you're going to have a lot of wiggle room to correct. Now, I basically got that the way I want it. I'm going to take a makeup sponge and I'm going to blot it, but I don't go in like this. I put that edge of the makeup sponge in the mouth. I press in lightly. I've taken a great deal of the color off, but by doing it in light coats like this, China paint on porcelain's not porous, but it does leave a little roughness. So by doing this very light coat, after I go and fire it and put that second coat in, the color's going to have something to grab to. So your next coat is going to be a little darker.
Carl, can I see that sponge?
Sure.
Of what you took off of on the. So that's quite a bit of paint.
Yes.
From that little. So it's just enough to kind of give it a very soft look.
It gives us a soft look. It makes it pretty much even too.
Yes.
As you can tell. So that's all we'll do on the lips. Now, of course, we went through his earlier. He has a bigger void. He's not as rounded as her. So keep that in mind. Another thing too, let's compare them side by side. Her lips go down smaller to give her more of a smile on the side.
Yes.
His are a little fuller.
Right.
So it gives him more of a stern look. And if you can really go in there.
We want him to look like a strong man.
True. Now, of course, we discussed on her too, you can pretty much go by the sculpting. If you'll zoom in, you can see the ridge where that lip is.
Oh, yeah.
He's painted above it.
All right, yeah.
You have to notice little things like that. So his lips are painted completely different than hers. So that's why we get the smile. His are more a relaxed look, but a stern look. And it's because of
concern.
Yes, his lips are fuller at the top. They're thicker there. Then that mouth does not just drop out of anything, because by doing that, that gives her a broader smile. So we're going, and he's also got more of a dip in his lip instead of the roundness that she has. It's the little things like that that will make it look more like the old. So we're going to take the same color, same brush. We're going to go in and do his lips now. Like I said, hers was way down there. His lips thicker. So I will paint in. You don't have to do the line like I do. This is just an old habit. But I'm going to go in here, start there. I'm pushing the brush a little harder, so it's flattening it out just a bit. He's got that wider gap in between his lip. And don't be afraid to turn that head to make it easier. Trying to get the lips as symmetrical. Now you can see where I went wrong there. If you want to, you can wait until you get the lips in and correct. I'm going to go in here with my eraser and take some of this out. That's a little more pleasing. Also, if you do his lips just a little bit off to one side, it gives him more of a sneer. So don't be afraid to paint it off just a little. Don't go for perfect. You'll never get perfect. The old ones were far from perfect anyway.
Well, we want him to have personality, so.
True. You don't want it cookie cutter look or factory painted by today's standards. We're not using stencils, so don't be afraid to give him some personality. I painted those lips far too big. No biggie. I'll go in there, take my eraser, and push the color that I don't want into the eraser. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and blot it. Then you can go back in there and shape it more. Once again, don't do this. You'll tend to blur it. If you take that edge, put it right in between the lips, not pressing it hard. You just want to take some of that pigment out. Now, let's look at the picture and see where I've went wrong. Okay. I can tell this one side is down a little further. That one's got a little more of a peak. There, that's good enough for the first firing. Now I'm going to go back into the T rows. We're going to put in tear ducts. As you can see, that one's small, that one's large. Pick out a size that you're comfortable with.
They're pretty large on both of them, I think.
They
Now,
are.
are you going to, we didn't do the lady, so.
Oh, we'll go back and do
Okay.
her. Just go in there and put a little bit, like I said, this is tea rose. Then we're going to take...
And this is, we're filming this live in Pacific Grove. The kids are playing up the street. Oh, so now it's time to do the nostrils
Yes,
too?
do the nostrils with that.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to put him down and go to her and do the same thing.
I see it coming alive. And you're just doing little tiny little strokes in the nostrils.
Yes. Okay. Now it's time for the cheeks. We're going to come in with just a tad of media, just to make it more movable and blendable. And always, when you're doing cheeks and putting media on, extend the media beyond where you're going to be blushing, just in case you do get it off. It'll wipe off or blend in a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to get some pigment on it of the tea rose. I'm going to put it out here, bounce it around, and then that gives me a little pad of color. If we'll look at her cheeks, they extend down, the color does, all the way under her cheeks, all the way up to her eyes, and as far back as you can see.
She's a very healthy lady in the 19th century.
Yes, the man's is also that way. All this color was not done in one firing, so don't try to do too much. Put a little bit of color on there. I'm not patting this hard. I tend to put it back off the apple of the cheek in the first few firings because I just want an overall tone of pinkness. I'll build it and concentrate it more later. I'm going to take this. This is a Deerfoot stippler, and I tend to go in like a circular motion. I've not
She's
got that.
Already coming alive.
Now, I did not blend it out as far as I want it yet. This is just taking some of the surface paint off. I will then go to a small China mop, which is much softer. Then I'll pull that color. Like I keep saying, keep your colors light in the first few firings. You'll build the color. If you put too much color on, it tends to look clumsy and will blotch. So keep your color light. Now, this is all I do in this first firing. And as I said, I do fire quite a lot, probably more than other doll artists do. But that tends to give you more of a look of an old one than trying to get too much color on it once.
Well, I think people want to do a one-stop thing. They want to just sit and paint it all at once. And they've made a doll, but they haven't made a great doll.
Well, yes, you want to get finished with it, but it's better after all the labor you've went through. Let's do it and enjoy it and
all the stages.
Have it right, yes. I mean, I haven't always painted this way. Hildegard Gonzel was one of the best China painters I've ever encountered. And she did share with me, people want to get things done fast, but once you have poured, cleaned, and fired, that's the time when you're ready to paint, that's the time you should go the slowest to get the best results. Now see, there's just barely a whisper of color on there.
But it's very effective.
But you can see it's bringing things out. These little subtle things is what brings the doll out. Okay.
And we're going to build upon that.
True. Now, here's both of them ready to go in the kiln. You can see the difference in the lips.
So Carl, it's amazing. They're starting to take on a life. And I can see from my point of view, his lips are nice and fuller, plumper, and the shadowing is beautiful.
Thank you. And if you look at the pictures, you can tell he's patterned after him, and of course she's patterned after her. So notice the little details, like in the mouth, like we've talked about. Basically, other than the furrows in his eyebrows, the shading's the same on both of them. And like I keep saying, we're going to build on top of these colors. So don't think you've really not done anything by using such light color. We will come back and intensify it, and little by little, we'll get the pronounced color, but we'll get the softness of the antique by doing this.
No, it looks great. So now we're going to bake these babies, aren't we?
Yes, they're ready for firing number 2, and we're going to fire those once again to an 018.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We will be back.
Okay.
Carl, you're mixing up some new paint.
Yes, this color is called Roseberry. We're going to finish up the hands, which of course can be fired in with the head and everything else. The hands only require one more firing.
And then they're done.
They're done. So if you finish up your arms and legs while you're painting the head and have extra time, you can go in and be doing your body and getting things assembled. And of course, we put the flesh on. So we've already dealt with that. We're going to take a liner brush. Let me get my optivisors back on. And let's see, where's our picture? Of course, you can only see the thumb here on the antique one, but we're just really going to make...
It's a very simple little
yes.
bit.
Very fine lines. And you can see how big my hands are compared to these fingers. These fingers are very small. Try to do as delicate a line as you can. As these are French, and the French were absolutely wonderful at painting. So you want to use your best brush work. See, it's no more than this.
But isn't your best brush work having to do with a good quality brush?
Yes. You always want to try to use a really good natural hairbrush. I feel like they last longer, they're more durable, and easier to use. Synthetics, they're good, but they will not go back into a point after a while. They'll start spreading on
And
you.
this, you need a point, don't you?
Yes. So if you're going to paint, you might as well use something that's going to make your job easier. Well, that one's a little sloppy. We go back to that trusty eraser. It's not there now, so we'll fix that. Here I go again.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I surely am not. Okay, we're putting our media on here where we can add some blush, and we want to do that fairly light. You're going to lose a little bit of color, but if you have to do this twice, it's much better than to do it twice than to do it once and have it too dark. Put just a tad of color there. Go in with your small China mop. Mop that color. When you do it lighter, it's going to make it more delicate looking. Put just a little bit on that elbow. Not a great deal. Just a little more.
It's really like almost like you do a lot of things. To me, Carl, it seems like it's working with pastels.
It's in between. China paintings always reminded me halfway between pastels and watercolor. You want that translucency. You want your colors to fade into whatever colors underneath it and blend well. So by using the proper media and the color consistency, you can achieve that like watercolor.
Now, with these arms, it's all pretty much the same technique with both the male and the female, correct?
It's exactly the same.
Okay.
Like I said, don't use a great deal of color on them.
And then once we fire these are ready to go on a body, correct?
Oh yes, they're done.
Okay.
They didn't go to extremes on a lot of dolls' limbs, and these are no exception. Of course, they're fairly early.
All right. Well, this is a big step to get all the arms done, but of course we have to still fire it and hope that it comes out okay.
True.
When you're doing how much do you lose in your firings when you're doing you're at home in your own studio?
What do you mean, the color?
Or just damage coming out of the firing process?
Generally, you're not going to lose a doll, cracks or anything after it's fired that first time.
That first time, okay.
Yes, unless you're careless and drop it or something like that. Of course, always be careful of these delicate little fingers.
Oh, yes.
His are a lot easier. Hers, though, handle them with care. And I will tell you, when I'm doing them, something as delicate as this, as soon as it comes out of the kiln, I will generally take some tissue paper and bubble wrap, and I'll wrap those hands to make sure those fingers stay intact until I get it on the body. Because you put in a lot of work and you don't want it to flaw or get broken.
No, and they're very delicate.
Now his hands, like I said, you don't have to worry that much.
No.
There's nothing attached, and his fingers are, I hate to use the word, more clubby. So you're not going to damage those.
He's a man.
Well, true.
He's got man hands. Nothing worse than a doll with male doll with lady hands.
True.
He's got man hands.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll come back with the next stage. Well, Carl, I see you've been busy mixing paints. So what are we doing now?
Well, now we're getting ready. Let me show you first. This is after the first firing. You'll notice there's hardly any lip color there. We basically just laid in shadow work and give a little cheek color. So now we're going to paint our lips, give them a second coat, only except on this coat, we're not going to blot it. We're going to paint it directly in, paint it smooth, and let that go. We're going to come up and we're going to put some eyelashes on them. Then we're going to deepen our cheeks. So, like I keep saying, I paint a lot different than most people, and I do very light coats of color, and I fire a lot. So we're just going to do those 3 simple steps in this firing.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is go back and repaint the lips. I'm going directly into the color.
So you're doing Whisper
Pink.
Whisper Pink, okay.
Now I load my brush. I always come over here and stroke out some of the color. We don't want a whole lot of color. And of course, this is the male. So we're going to go in and just reinforce this color. You should be able to see this a lot better than that first coat. It is a very light, bright pink, but it goes on and you won't think you have that much color.
Now, is there going to be another layer of paint on top of this?
Yes, there's going to be a darker pink to calm this pinkness down. As I said, we're doing what's called an overpaint. We're painting it much brighter than what it should be. Then we'll tone it with a darker pink. We're going to try to pull this color to where it's fairly even. Like we've already discussed, his lips are a little broader than hers and has a small dip in the lower lip. Now I've overpainted that, but we're going to take the eraser, go in there, and take that off. Now, always refer back to the original painting. Okay, I need to make it a little fuller. And once again, we'll be going over this with a darker color. So it hasn't got to be absolutely perfect. We still have room to correct any faux pas. Okay, that's pretty good on him. Let's thicken the sides of his lips up just a little. Get that stern look instead of a smile, because he definitely doesn't really have a smile.
But don't you find that each one of them takes on its own personality?
Oh yes, even if I sit and paint 10 or 15 of the same head, no two are going to look really alike. Okay, now we're switching to her, using the same color. We want that smile on her, and her upper lips are fuller. So we'll go in and put that line in, load up some color, take some of it out.
Now you have actually, the camera's not exactly picking it up, but you have something to follow what's already there, correct?
Oh yes, that very first coat, that light coat, use that as a pattern and simply just fill it in and increase the intensity. And where we have that very light coat, it's making the paint go on and stick better.
And these are very tiny.
They are.
Tiny lips.
Okay, onto that lower lip. Like I said, it just basically drops out of nowhere. It's very round.
Now you're giving her a definite smile.
Check for symmetry as you go. If you don't have it, go in there and correct it. And I find if I turn it upside down, I can catch flaws. This side's fuller than this one. I'm going to go over here, put just a tad more color.
Now, Carl, when you paint, do you always paint with it like you're holding a little egg in your hand?
Pretty much. And I'm bad about propping. I use that little finger there to prop with to make myself a little more steady. Which sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes it can be bad. It does limit your brush strokes. So you can get basically like when we go to the brows, get it in on that first firing, but then you have a base, so you can go and add little tails and stuff, which you'll be seeing that when I get up to the point of the brows. Just a little forward. There we go. Now we're getting that look on the lips. Okay, now we're going to go back up and put some media over the eyes again and under the eyes. We're going to re-intensify that color.
So media is an invaluable part of this process, isn't it?
It really is, especially to make the colors blend and flow the way you want them to. Right now I'm simply going into my media once again. We're going into the T-rose. We're going to thin that down too. Okay, we're going to go in here right in the crease of the eye. I'm going up under on the lower lids. Get a little bit of this off. So it was quite messy there. Okay. We're going to take and push upward with it this time.
So it's going to create a
More of a blended shadow.
okay.
And see, it's very subtle, but you can tell it's bringing it forward and out.
I can almost visualize what it's going to do with the when the eyes are in it. Eyes are going to pop.
Yes, it actually makes it look like there's more detail there than it really is. It gives it a lot more dimension. Okay, we're starting to get that pink tone now around the eyes that we see in the original. Okay, we're going to take a different color, a pink pompadour now, and we're going to intensify the eye dots once again, which you can barely see them, but this will give it more dimension.
Build it up. It's almost like a drop shadow, isn't it?
Yes.
What you did earlier and then now, this is like a drop shadow, which you'd use in video production and books and things.
Oops. Get our trusty eraser. Take that off. Right. Let my hand slip. Also go back in there with that eraser. Let's see, by removing that pigment, it's made the eye move out and jump forward from that shadow. Because, once again, look at your original. It's very clean there. Then you have the color.
Mm-hmm.
Which you will notice that more when we do the next step and put in the lashes. We're going to do the same thing to him. Don't forget his little furrows. We're going to put more pigment there too.
So that is your media.
Yes.
That you're putting on, okay?
Yes. And then we're going back to the T-rose with some media on a brush. Going to thin it down. And on the lower lids. Let's see. not putting a great deal of pressure on this brush. I'm kind of just really moving the tip ends around.
And I see you really always work in a circular motion, don't you?
It just seems like it blends it a lot more evenly if I do that rather than doing stroke work. Once again, keep your colors very subtle. Less is more when you're trying to paint. Take that down to the flesh color again, which will always give you a look of more color over the eyes. Okay, I'm going to intensify his little stress lines. It doesn't hurt. Bring them on out some. Sometimes I go in there and just pop it a little with my finger to blend. Okay, now we're going to start the lash work. Now you'll notice they're not truly black. We'll be using black velvet, which is a matte black, but we're going to use a good bit of media. We don't want it runny, but we don't want stark black lashes because they're definitely not black on this doll. So I have a brow liner and I have media over here to the side.
And what color is this that we're using?
Black velvet.
Black velvet. You said that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, immediately I went to fabrics. So.
Well, think of how rich black velvet looks.
Yes.
It's a matte color. Of course, the opposite. This is Jean Nor. Oh gosh, what paint? Anyway, the opposite of this is black satin, and satin's shiny. So always think of velvet as rich and matte look. Now you'll see I've went into the color, got a little pigment. I'm bringing it over here and thinning it down. And while I'm thinning it down, I'm also pulling some of that pigment out of my brush. Because like we've just saw, these are not truly black lash work. Okay, now I prop against myself, both hands together and my finger, which I know I paint strange, but this enables me to be a little bit more steady. When I do lashes, I put the tip end of the brush down, I push inward, which releases some color, then I pretty much bring that brush up and use the very tip end to drag out. That's how I get fine lashes. So, and when you start lashes, generally it's easier and better to start on the inside instead of the outside. If you start on the outside, your spaces is going to get off. So, and it's better to, once you start, not stop. You'll get a rhythm by doing it that way. So here we go. This is the man I'm doing. Turn the head as you go.
I was noticing that you keep the brush in the same position and you're moving the head almost like it's on a lazy Susan.
Pretty much. I forget who taught me that. This hand should only do your brush work. Make your other hand work and conform. Also, if you pull towards yourself, you'll find you have more control over the brush than if you were pulling away. So we're going to go over here and do this side. Oops. See, little faux pas.
We see that a lot in old dolls.
Well, you've got to realize too, in the old dolls, they didn't have erasers. They didn't have makeup sponges. It's much easier for us. They could not start over. It would flaw the paint. So whatever they put down there, that's what we have today. And much like today, they were quite good, but they were not perfect. So you're going to see all kinds of flaws in the old ones. That's why I've always preached, don't make it too perfect, because the old dolls certainly wasn't. Okay, we're going to come down and do the lower lashes.
I notice you're working with the same amount of paint that you started with.
If you get your, ooh, that one's a little heavy. If you have a good brush, and get your paint the right consistency, this liner brush in particular, you'll notice it's very small at the end. It has what's called lead hairs. You have maybe 10 hairs there that I'm actually painting with, but you have a group of hair there that holds the paint. So it feeds off of it like an old crow quill pen does. So you've got the constant paint flow, and it's all determined on how heavy you pull that brush down. Okay, we have that one done. I'm going to go over here and do the other.
Carl, you make that look so easy.
Okay, now I'm going into the full color. We're going to rim the eyes, and that will give it a lot more definition. Take that brush and just put it all the way in there. Take the very edge of your brush. Just let that paint roll off.
It gives it the illusion that that's where the lashes started from, doesn't it?
Yes. It makes it all come together. Many years ago, all of us doll makers thought we had solved a problem. We thought, well, if we rim the eyes and get that full of color, that gives us a reservoir to pull those lashes from. Well, it sounded good, and everybody did that for a while. Then we really started looking at the old ones. That's not the way it was done. It was done the opposite. They were just skilled at controlling their brush, their paint. They painted their lashes first, then they did this. Now, we're going to put a little more cheek color on him. Be careful, don't get up in your eyelashes. When I say a little cheek color, that's exactly what I mean. Don't put a lot.
Now, what color is the cheek color?
The cheek color we're using is tea rose.
Tea rose, okay.
So I'm going to grab our sponge. Not a whole lot of color in there. Put it off center of the apple of the cheek. Not a lot of color. Very carefully. Don't get in those eyelashes. They'll be gone. Don't get in that mouth. It's still wet. It'll be gone.
But you put beautiful cheek color on.
Thank you.
I think it's just right.
See? We brought the cheeks up that much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
Each little step, it's very little, but it really makes a difference by putting the paint on in layers, very thin layers. Now, we're going to do her lashes. Her lashes are nothing extreme. They're nothing special, really.
Aren't they just the same as the
basically she has, her lash work is a little better done. It's a little closer together.
But do you think that's just?
That's how it happened that day,
I don't
more
think
than
they
likely.
were. I don't think they were.
It's
planning
nothing
that.
truly deliberate that I really think was done to these dolls. It's just that's the way it happened that day. And the lashes on these, surprisingly, stay pretty much evenly with the lid itself. Sometimes, of course, they extend way beyond it. There's one or two on each doll that are longer. So, don't paint it perfect. Nothing screams a reproduction like trying to make everything so uniform.
Well, you're filling in the space you have. You're not counting the lashes, are you?
No, never count. Just try to get something that is aesthetically pleasing to the eye, looks very close to the original. Try to keep the spacing as even as you can. Once you start, like I said, don't stop, and that usually will give you a rhythm, and you'll go back automatically and space them fairly close to each other. Now, one thing I do try to do is end, when I paint my upper lashes, I try to end at the very edge of the eye. Almost every antique is done that way. You'll see,
Sure.
almost like what we call a cat eye today, that little lash goes out right at the
I
edge
think
of
in
the
the
eye.
50s they called that the flick.
The flick, okay.
So let's call it the flick.
Okay. Now, we're going to go for the lowers. Very light touch. The lighter you hold your brush, and the quicker you do it, the finer the lines you're going to get. If you go in there and put a lot of pressure on it, you're going to get big old thick eyelashes.
You're going to get Tammy Faye eyelashes.
Yes. Or as my mama used to say, it looks like somebody took a 2x4 and painted that. You want to be just really light and go in there. And if you can relax enough to where you don't really think about it and just keep going, generally those are going to be your best lashes. It's when you sit there and work your nerves trying to get it so fine, you're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You just really need to relax, breathe. I slow my breathing down. I will tell everybody that. It's a form of yoga. I do very, very deep breathing before I start anything that I need good, fine brush work with. And of course, I've gotten older through the years, so I find that really helps me. I call it zoning out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now you're doing the lining.
Just go in there. I'm barely touching it. Let that paint flow. Don't press. Let that brush do what it's supposed to do. Don't make it hard on yourself. A lot of people that think they can't paint lashes, they stress themselves out to the point where they get all worked up. Their breathing gets heavy. I
They
shake.
tense up.
I shake, so that's why I'm against myself, against here and here. But if you're breathing deeply, you're still going to do this. So try to always keep your breathing calm. Just have a good time with it. Don't stress out. It's going to show in your painting. Once again, watch the mouth. Watch your lashes. Don't get into it. Remember, it's wet. Put our media on. Not a great deal of media, just a little. Back into our tea rose.
And that, you've been working with that media and you really barely even touched the little jar.
Yes.
So for the investment, it's a really a great product.
That's one reason. For years, I did use water-based media, especially when I was on the road teaching and traveling. Uh, it, it was easy to work with. It's easy to clean up. You will get a different finish with it. Your colors will tend to be a little bit brighter. I went back to oil because the way I paint in such thin layers. With the oil, I have more control over how concentrated I get the color.
Well, it's like an oil painting. You've got lots of opportunities to correct it.
Oh,
because
yes.
It takes a while to dry.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Now, this is our third firing, and we see with each step, yes, we're using less pigment, but it's intensifying quicker.
We're building up.
And it's soft still. It's not like a cut out piece of construction paper pasted on there. It's still soft.
Excellent.
And that's what you want to keep. That soft, you want to keep the blended look.
All right, so we're going to put those in the easy bake oven and we'll be back.
And go to a 018 once again.
018. So Carl, what are we going to do next?
Well, now that we've got everything stabilized in the last firing, you can see the colors kind of pop more than they did.
Can you turn that to me? Thank
Sure.
you. Okay.
We're going to go in. We see that the lips are much pinker than we really need them. Like I said, we did an overpaint. So we've got them real pink. We're going to take pink pompadour and we're going to thin it down a great deal. We just want to put a very light wash of the pink pompadour over it to calm that color down somewhat. It's not going to look like you're doing a great deal, but it will show up more after it's fired.
And if you hear clicking in the background, that is the easy bake oven baking these dolls.
And of course, this is the woman Dehors we're working on right now. And we're going to go in there just like I've been doing, use that edge, put it in between the lips, press. Don't press terribly hard. It looks like we have no color on there, but after it's fired, you'll be able to tell that it's a more muted pink, and that's what we're after. We're going to take some more pink pompadour, not as thin. We're going to go into our tear ducts. Whoa, that's a little too much. Let me take some of the color out of my brush. Very lightly go in there. Do our tear ducts again. We'll also go in and deepen the nostrils.
So this is the third layer on this.
Third or fourth?
Fourth.
I think it's the fourth firing.
Okay.
Okay, after we do that, we're going to take the makeup sponge that has a little bit of media. We're going to go in. If you'll notice, since we've got the lashes on and got those fired, of course, we've shaded the pink around the eyes. It's pretty much gone. So we're going to re-intensify that. Next, we're going to go in with the tea rose one more time. We'll get a little bit of media.
The media seems to keep all of your paints from drying up, doesn't it?
It does, but this is an oil base, so it is drying out just the slightest bit.
Okay.
So if it gets to where it's not moving, put a little more media in it and take your palette knife and mix it a little more. I'm going to go ahead and apply the color on both of them before I blend.
And so you're putting a little bit on over the eyelashes?
Yes.
Lower lashes.
Now, this time I'm going to go in, instead of using a China mop, I'm going to use a slant shader and pull that color. Now I'm basically just going in there and pouncing it.
Stippling it.
Yes, stipple. Because I want to intensify that depth, not necessarily disperse the color that much.
It seems like you're giving it like a soft edge.
Yes. And we're going to take our eraser and do like we've done before. And when you pull that color off of the lid, it's going to make the color that's remaining there jump more and have more depth. Okay. So next, we're going to go up and we're going to do what's called a shadow brow, which, if you look really closely, there's a very light color underneath all of this brushwork. So it's really a foundation on what we do our detail work on. We're not going to put a great deal of color there, but it will give you somewhat of a map where to do all that fine line work. And we'll come back and we're using Chameau brow.
Okay.
And we're going to go in. Okay, her brows are right on the brow line. So we'll find that raised part and start with the light stroke. Push your brush. When you push it down, you're going to create a thicker line. Then when we get over here, go back to just the tip end. Now, go in, push. I'm not pushing hard, and you might have to go over here, put it down. You want to create a little thickness there. And her brows are pretty dramatic if you really look at them. Like I use the edge of the eye to go by to figure out how far down we come. She has an arch there, of course. So we're going in at an angle. This needs to come down just a little more on the side. About like that. Now, let's refer to the picture of the original. If you'll notice, yes, my eyebrows are off. Guess what? So are hers. It's arched higher on this side. This one's lower. So, you don't have to have them perfect. Remember, we're copying an antique. I'm going to thicken this up somewhat, too.
But isn't this going to give her her own unique?
Oh, yes.
I think eyebrows are so important.
Eyebrows set the whole character and everything to the face to me. You can show stress, you can show surprise, you show happiness. Everything's through the eyebrows. Now, get them basically like what you want. Go in there with your makeup sponge. Try not to move it around. Go in there and blot.
You're just making a shadow.
Just a shadow. It's going to be very light. Go back in there. Now, I don't like that little tail that I've got. So take that wonderful eraser. Make it a little more uniform. But like I said, the original one has that. It carried over in the way I paint, so I'm leaving it. This one's more supple, so that one is too. Now that has a bit of a tail there. I do want to get rid of that. Maybe take just a tad of this off.
Because you could add to that when you get to
Oh, we'll be
starting-
going back over the
Yeah.
shadow brow, but first, after this firing, we'll go in and do the line work, fire it, then we'll come back and give it more of a shadow. Like I said, this just makes it easier when you start your line work. It gives you a basis where it should go.
And it's really the very same technique for the male, isn't it not?
His brows are a little different because he's got kind of a scowl to his face.
Oh, okay. So that's
but-
just the shape.
Yes, just the shape, and he's got different brush work on top.
Okay.
We'll show that when we get to him, but he will start out with a shadow brow also.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to put just a little more cheek color.
And what color is the cheek color that you're putting on now?
T-rose.
T-rose, okay.
T-rose. Go into the color, pounce most of it out. That way it loads evenly on the sponge. Now we can see this
No,
is our third
she's
coat.
It's looking radiant.
It just, the face starts jumping, I call it, when you start putting. At first you'll feel like, Lord, I'm not really getting any color, I'm getting nowhere. But after about the third or fourth application, you're going to start seeing that face come out.
Yeah, we are seeing it.
And yes, it's slow, but I promise you, it's worth it. Don't try to do this in one or two firings.
Well, and if,
You're painting a very
I
important
mean, if they're buying
doll.
the mold, then do 3 or 4 at a time, or 5 at a time.
Yes. But you're painting a very rare doll. Don't put a bad reproduction out there. Take your time. Enjoy it and learn from it.
And by the way, this truly is the Dehors mold, which there are some molds out there that are painted like they are, but they are not the mold. So this one is very unique.
Okay. We're ready for the next firing.
All right. Well, we'll put her in the oven and we'll be back.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.